Welcome back to the channel World Coins Master everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare and valuable US coins. Today, we're exploring a truly remarkable story that has captured the attention of collectors and enthusiasts alike, the story of the 1977 one-dime coin from the United States, a small 10-cent piece that, under the right circumstances, could be worth an astounding $17 million. It may sound unbelievable that a dime with a face value of just 10 cents could be valued at such a staggering amount, but as you'll discover, it's all about the minting errors, mistakes, and variations that make certain coins exceptionally rare and incredibly valuable. So sit back and join us as we unfold the story of how a tiny piece of metal from 1977 could turn into a fortune, all because of a few imperfections and mysteries created during its production at the US Mint. Let's start by setting the scene in 1977. The United States Mint was producing billions of coins across its different facilities, including the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The Roosevelt dime, which had been in circulation since 1946, was still the standard design. On the obverse, or front, was the profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, and on the reverse, or back, was the torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by olive and oak branches representing peace and strength. At first glance, all 1977 dimes seem identical, shiny, small, and ordinary. But coin collectors know that no two minting years are truly the same. Subtle differences, mistakes during the minting process, and anomalies in mint marks can turn a common coin into something extraordinary. To understand why the 1977 dime could reach a value as high as $17 million, it's essential to understand the concept of mint errors. A mint error occurs when something goes wrong during the production process at the mint. This could be due to a misaligned die, a planchet error, double striking, or the use of the wrong metal composition. In some cases, coins are struck with dies that have been polished excessively or even with mismatched obverse and reverse dies meant for different years or denominations. Each type of error can dramatically affect a coin's rarity and value. The rarer the error, the higher the demand among collectors, and thus the higher the potential price point. One of the most fascinating possibilities surrounding the 1977 dime is the rumor of a misstrike or off-metal error, coins that may have been struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or other denominations. There have been instances in US mint history where coins were accidentally struck on planchets intended for coins of another country. In the case of 1977, there are reports of dimes that were struck on copper-nickel planchets that differ slightly in weight or coloration, or even on planchets intended for a cent or quarter. These unusual coins are instantly recognized by experienced collectors because their size, color, and metallic sheen appear different from the standard dime. Some collectors have also discovered 1977 dimes with double die errors. A double die occurs when the coin's design is impressed more than once on the die, slightly offset each time. This can cause visible doubling of the text, date, or design elements. On some 1977 dimes, faint doubling can be seen in the word liberty, in Roosevelt's profile, or in the motto "In God We Trust." These coins, when found in pristine condition, are worth thousands of dollars, but a perfectly preserved and dramatic double die example could fetch millions, especially if it combines other unique errors or rare variations in the mint mark. Speaking of mint marks, the 1977 dimes came primarily from the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark that year, and the Denver Mint, which used the letter D. There were also proof versions made at the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. While the standard coins are common, mistakes involving mint marks can turn an ordinary dime into a treasure. For example, there have been cases of repunched mint marks, where the mint mark was stamped more than once, causing a visible doubling or overlapping of the letter. There have also been over-mint mark errors, where a mint mark from one mint was accidentally stamped over by another, such as an S over a D or vice versa. If a 1977 dime were discovered with such an anomaly, it could easily attract massive attention from the collecting world. Another rare and fascinating error that could make a 1977 dime worth millions is a missing clad layer. Dimes from 1977 were made of a copper core sandwiched between two layers of a copper-nickel alloy. If one of those outer layers fails to bond properly, the coin could appear reddish or brownish on one side, exposing the copper core. These coins have a unique appearance that sets them apart instantly. Depending on the severity of the missing layer and the coin's condition, they can be worth anywhere from hundreds to thousands of dollars. but a perfectly preserved 1977 dime with a complete missing clad layer on one side and an identifiable mint error could, under the right circumstances and collector demand, reach astronomical values. It's also important to note that in 1977, the mint was still using older machinery in some of its facilities. The dies and presses used at the time occasionally produced weak strikes or misaligned images. A weak strike occurs when the coin is not fully pressed with the die, resulting in faint or incomplete details. These errors can sometimes make it difficult to see parts of Roosevelt's face or the lettering. Misaligned die strikes, on the other hand, cause the design to be off-center, leaving part of the coin blank or showing a shadow of the image. Such coins, if extreme enough, can be worth thousands of dollars, and if combined with other errors, could push a coin's value to unheard-of levels. But beyond physical errors, there are also variations in the minting process itself that can add value. For instance, proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are struck multiple times with specially polished dies, resulting in a mirror-like surface and sharp details. These coins were not meant for circulation, but occasionally, proof coins have accidentally entered general circulation. A circulated proof 1977 dime would already be rare, but if that proof coin also had an error, like a double strike, die crack, or misaligned design, it would be one of a kind, and collectors would pay an enormous sum to own it. Proof error coins are among the most sought after in the hobby, and their unique combination of rarity and quality drives prices sky high. Another factor that makes certain 1977 dimes extremely valuable is their condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70 by professional grading services like PCGS and NGC. A coin graded at the top of this scale, such as MS-70, is considered flawless under magnification. Even small differences in grade can mean huge differences in value. A 1977 D dime in MS-65 condition might be worth a few dollars, but one in MS-70 condition with a unique error could reach into the millions. The rarity of a perfect condition coin combined with an unusual mint error makes for a combination that collectors dream of. Let's also talk about the role of die cracks and die breaks. Over time, as dies are used to strike thousands of coins, they develop small cracks. When these cracks transfer onto coins, they create raised lines or marks that can resemble lightning bolts or unusual shapes. Collectors call these cuds when part of the die breaks off entirely, leaving a blank raised area on the coin. A 1977 dime with a prominent die cud or crack, especially one that appears across Roosevelt's portrait or the torch on the reverse, would be considered a dramatic error. These coins are rare and can command very high prices, especially if they're in mint condition or are the only known examples. Another mystery that adds intrigue to the 1977 dime is the possibility of transitional errors. Transitional errors occur when a coin is struck using a metal composition from a previous or future year. For example, a few 1965 dimes were struck on 90% silver planchets intended for 1964 coins. If even one 1977 dime were found struck on a leftover silver planchet, its value would skyrocket. The US Mint had stopped making silver dimes in 1964, but occasional errors of this kind have surfaced in later years due to leftover planchets or mistakes in planchet allocation. A silver 1977 dime, authenticated by experts, could easily be valued in the millions because it would be a unique and historically significant find. When you think about what makes a coin worth $17 million, it's not just one factor, it's the combination of rarity, error type, condition, and collector demand. In the case of the 1977 dime, the most valuable examples would likely be those that feature multiple errors, for example, a double die obverse, off-center strike, missing clad layer, and repunched mint mark all in one coin. Such a coin would be considered a once-in-a-lifetime find, something that even the most seasoned collectors might never see. Its uniqueness and the story behind it would make it priceless in the numismatic world. Collectors and experts are always on the lookout for coins like this. Many people unknowingly carry coins in their pockets or have jars of change at home that might contain rare treasures. It's not uncommon for a coin worth thousands, or even millions, to be found in a box of old change or an inherited coin collection. That's why collectors always advise checking every coin carefully, especially from years known for unusual minting issues. The 1977 dime. Today's exciting video where we dive deep into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of US coins, the tale of the 1991 D. Roosevelt dime that has captured the attention of collectors and treasure hunters across the nation. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that most people would simply spend without a second thought, a small 10-cent piece that might just be worth an astonishing $13 million because of rare minting errors, anomalies, and mysteries hidden in its design. Yes, this is the story of how a simple 1991 D dime could transform from pocket change into a multi-million-dollar collectible. So, sit back and join us as we uncover the intriguing possibilities that make this coin one of the most sought-after era dimes ever found in the United States. The 1991 D dime is part of the long-running Roosevelt dime series, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Millions of these coins were minted at the Denver Mint in 1991, marked by the letter D beneath the date. To most people, it's an ordinary coin that's been in circulation for decades, but among these countless dimes lies a handful of extraordinary pieces that defy explanation. These special coins show unusual characteristics, minting mistakes, die misalignments, double strikes, off-center errors, and even rare missing mint marks, each adding to their value and allure. Collectors have long been fascinated by the idea that one of these dimes might be worth millions, and the 1991 D example has risen to legendary status for the combination of its rarity, condition, and mysterious production errors that have been reported in recent years. To understand why the 1991 D dime has become so valuable, we must first explore the minting process and how such errors can occur. Every coin produced by the U.S. Mint goes through a complex process involving the creation of dies, planchets, and striking under immense pressure. When something goes wrong during this process, such as a misaligned die, a defective planchet, or a double strike, it can result in an error coin. Normally, these errors are caught by quality control and destroyed before the coins leave the mint, but occasionally, a few slip through undetected. These rare survivors are the treasures that collectors dream about. The 1991 D dime, in particular, is known to have several varieties that escaped inspection, each with unique flaws that increase their collectible value. One of the most talked about error types found on 1991 D dimes is the double die error. This happens when the coin die itself is engraved twice with a slight offset, causing certain features of the coin, like the date, mint mark, or lettering, to appear doubled. On some of the rare 1991 D dimes, collectors have noticed subtle doubling around the words Liberty and In God We Trust, as well as on Roosevelt's iron mouth area. When examined under magnification, these small details reveal that something unusual happened during the minting process, and such coins are worth far more than their face value. In pristine condition, these double die examples have been valued in the hundreds of thousands, and a perfectly preserved specimen with a combination of multiple error features could easily push that value into the multimillion-dollar range. Another rare error associated with the 1991 D dime is the off-center strike. This occurs when the blank planchet is not properly aligned with the dies during striking, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. The more off-center the coin is while still retaining visible details like the date and mint mark, the more valuable it becomes. Some 1991 D off-center dimes have been documented with as much as 60% of the design missing, making them instantly recognizable and incredibly collectible. These striking errors demonstrate how unpredictable the minting process can be, and they add a level of uniqueness that makes each error dime one of a kind. One of the most mysterious and valuable errors seen on Roosevelt dimes, and a key reason why the 1991 D coin is so famous, is the missing mint mark variation. In 1991, the Denver Mint produced tens of millions of dimes bearing the D mark, but a few rare pieces have surfaced without it. Missing mint marks are not supposed to occur in modern coinage since each die is carefully inspected. Yet when such an omission does happen, it instantly transforms the coin into a rarity. A few 1991 dimes have been found without any mint mark at all, leading collectors to question whether these were transitional errors or perhaps the result of worn dies that failed to stamp the mint mark properly. These missing mint mark examples are among the most sought-after pieces, with experts suggesting that if one in flawless condition ever appeared at auction, it could easily reach values around $13 million due to its singular rarity and collector demand. The condition of the coin plays a major role in determining its value. A regular 1991 D dime in circulated condition is worth only 10 cents, but an uncirculated or proof quality specimen, especially one showing a rare error, can be exponentially more valuable. Coins that have been preserved in mint state condition, graded MS-67 or higher, are exceedingly rare and command premium prices. Some of the most valuable 1991 VD dimes ever sold have been discovered in old rolls or mint sets that were never opened, where the coins have retained their original luster and sharp details. When a coin like this combines both pristine condition and a dramatic minting error, it becomes the ultimate treasure for collectors, a piece of history worth millions. Another fascinating error type linked to the 1991 VD dime is the broad strike error. This happens when the retaining collar that holds the coin in place during striking fails, causing the metal to expand beyond its normal boundaries. The result is a dime that appears wider and flatter than usual, sometimes with missing rim details. Broad strike errors are relatively rare, but when combined with other anomalies like off-center details or doubling, they can make the coin incredibly valuable. A broad strike 1991 D dime showing full date and mint mark can easily be valued at tens of thousands, and if discovered in pristine uncirculated condition, its value could skyrocket even higher. There are also reports of 1991 D dimes with clipped planchette errors, where part of the metal blank is missing due to an irregular cut during the manufacturing process. These clips can be straight, curved, or elliptical, and they make the coin look as if a small bite has been taken out of it. These errors are visually striking and highly collectible, especially when the clip doesn't affect important details like the date or mint mark. A dramatic curved clip on a bright, uncirculated 1991 VD dime could be valued in the thousands, but if such a coin also features another minting mistake, such as a double strike or broad strike, the combination could send its value soaring into the millions. Over the years, collectors and numismatists have speculated about the existence of 1991 VD dimes struck on the wrong planchette, another type of minting error that can create extreme rarity. This happens when a dime design is accidentally struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, such as a cent or a foreign coin. For example, a few US dimes have been found struck on copper planchets, giving them a reddish tone instead of the usual silvery color. If a 1991 D dime were discovered on such a copper or bronze planchette, it would instantly become one of the rarest modern coins ever found, possibly worth millions depending on its condition and visibility of the error. Collectors also pay close attention to die cracks and cuds, raised lines or lumps on the surface of the coin caused by damage to the die. These flaws may seem small, but they add character and uniqueness to a coin. A 1991 D dime with a noticeable die crack running through Roosevelt's portrait or the torch on the reverse could draw significant interest. Some error dimes show large die breaks near the rim, forming what collectors call cuds. These defects result from pieces of the die breaking off during use, causing blank areas on the coin where part of the design is missing. Such coins are highly desirable and can fetch impressive prices, especially if the cud is dramatic and well-defined. Another possibility that adds to the mystique of the 1991 D dime is the concept of transitional errors. These occur when the mint changes the metal composition or design details of a coin, and a few coins are accidentally struck using the wrong materials or dies from another year. While the Roosevelt dime's composition has remained relatively consistent since 1965, with a copper core and nickel cladding, there have been reports of transitional planchets being used accidentally, resulting in coins with unusual color or weight. A 1991 D dime struck on a leftover silver or experimental planchette from a special production run would be a numismatic dream come true, potentially explaining why such a coin could be worth up to $13 million today. Part of what makes coins like the 1991 D dime so fascinating is the element of discovery. Many of these rare pieces were not immediately recognized when they entered circulation. People might have spent them unknowingly at grocery stores or gas stations, never realizing that the coin they handed over could someday be worth a fortune. It's this possibility that keeps treasure hunters and collectors searching through rolls of dimes, checking every detail with magnifiers, hoping to spot one of these elusive error coins. The thrill of the hunt and the dream of discovering a life-changing treasure in spare change drive the passion of coin collectors around the world. Another factor that enhances the value of certain 1991 RD